So here's the thing about manifesting. We don't always manifest what we want, but we always manifest who we are. That's why authors such as Neville Goddard or even new authors or teachers such as Joe Dispenza, they always ask you to create a new self-concept, change your story, right? And once we change a story, we don't always have to worry about what we're focusing on or what our thoughts are creating out there, because it almost becomes automatic for your new identity to create the things that you want. So this is one of the most crucial things when it comes to manifesting. Instead of just trying to focus on raising your vibration or doing all that crap, you can just simply change the story about who you are. And in turn, that's going to help you create a totally new reality for yourself, and that happens automatically. So in this video, I'm going to share with you one simple question that you can ask to yourself so you can identify your story, and I'm also going to give you 3 steps on how you can change your story very, very quickly. So if you want to learn more about this, stay tuned and let's get started. Welcome back to this video. My name is Rav. I'm your manifesting coach, and if you're looking for a free resource to help you with your journey, I have this free guidebook out which you can find in the description box below. And I also have this new program out called the Manifestation Accelerator, which is designed to help you change your story by changing the way you focus on different things, because ultimately it comes down to how you focus on whether you can have something or you can't. The more you can focus on your desire being already yours, the quicker you can have it. And this course is going to help you step by step on how to get to that point. Actually, before we talk about how to change a story, let's talk about what's a story and why it's important to change a story. So we all have these beliefs about ourselves which come in the forms of identity, and sometimes they're really easily identified. For example, if you're a student going to college, you may tell to yourself, I'm really bad at giving exams. That's maybe a story that you hold. Maybe your friend who's probably read the same amount as you, for him it's really easy, and he just tells everybody all the time that it's so easy for me to give these exams. And ultimately, whatever story we focus on, that is what manifests into our reality. And stories are forms of affirmations that we keep telling ourselves over and over and over again, and sometimes and most times we don't even realize it. And I mentioned before, there's an easy way to identify your stories so you can change them very consciously. And this is what I learned in the process of coaching my clients. Okay, this is a really easy question that came to me one day, and it's really helpful to identify your story, which I often use with my clients as well as myself actually. So recently I was on a call with one of my clients who was trying to manifest their specific person, and they're giving me all this background about why they can't be with their specific person. And all of a sudden I made her stop and I asked her this simple question. So what's stopping you from getting what you want? What's stopping you from getting your specific person right now? And she stumbled for a second. She started going back to her background and telling me all these things about like what's going on in her environment. But I stopped her there again and I asked her again, what's actually stopping you from getting what you want? She stopped and thought for a second, and then she told me, I've seen this guy with so many other beautiful women, and when I think about that, I just don't think that I'm beautiful enough for him, right? So there's like these 2-part story. One part is about her, on why she doesn't feel good enough about her, right? Because of her beauty or the beauty standards about, like what she sees on her reality. Another thing is that she thinks that that guy is always hanging out with the beautiful girls. And, because of that, it makes her feel insecure. So sometimes these stories, although it's about you all the time, all the stories are obviously about you, we also make stories about other people, right? For example, like if I were to like change the story in this situation, if that was my SP that I was trying to manifest, I would just tell that, okay, even if they're hanging out with good-looking people, maybe they're their cousins, they're friends, they're just like, they're good-looking too, so maybe they're someone from their family, right? And this is a way you can just like, change your story in that level too, okay? So before we go into this 3-step process to change your story, I also wanted to give you a few examples of what I heard after I started asking my clients this question on what's stopping you from getting what you want. So some of the things that I've heard from them were, I don't affirm enough, that's why I can't get what I want. I don't believe that manifesting actually works sometimes, even though I'm constantly doing it. I don't think that I'm good enough for somebody or for something, like, manifesting money. And somebody may have more personal stories about their family. Like I mentioned in one of my videos previously, where I had these money blocks, which had to do with, I equated people with having more money with corrupt people, right? Corruption, because my dad was in the government. Especially when this is something that's directly related to whatever you're trying to manifest, we have to be really aware about this. Okay, so going forward, I want to be really aware of that. So let's talk about this 3 steps process that I was mentioning all the way from beginning. So the first thing that you have to do is know exactly what you want. Okay, so whenever you start writing down what you want, that's also a story, new story that you're creating. And don't be vague. If you're trying to manifest love and affection from your specific person, try to write down like what that would look. For example, if bringing flowers to you is a form of affection, you can write that down. My SP always brings me flowers all the time, so that becomes a new story, and you can keep repeating that all day long. The next thing is identify this old story, and you can identify this old story by asking yourself that question that I just mentioned before: what's stopping you from getting what you want right now? And once you start hearing all these reasons in your mind, you can write them down exactly. And the next thing is to turn these limiting beliefs or these limiting stories around to making them exactly how you want them to be. For example, let's say that you have a story about men and you keep telling yourself that all men are cheaters. You keep telling yourself about this, and you also mentioned this with your friends. But once you identify them, you can turn that story around and say, there are faithful men all around me. Everywhere I go, I meet faithful men who want commitment, who want to be with somebody like me, right? So you can change the stories in your own preference. So now you figured out what you want, and these are some stories that you want to tell yourself too, right? And then you have these stories that you got out of your limiting beliefs, and these, that the old stories, you've just turned them around. So you can just combine them, and you can start using them either as affirmations, or you can create a script around them and start telling yourself all the time. And that's how you create a new version of yourself. Whenever you change your state by changing your story, all these kinds of miracles can happen in a really instant. And that's happened to me so many times. I could give you so many examples of that. And maybe you could find these kinds of examples in your own reality too. For example, when you're in a great state after affirming to yourself, okay, I'm so desirable, or, you feel good about yourself to some degree. You may not be thinking to yourself consciously, but you feel good about yourself. Then when you go to the store, it feels a lot different on how people are treating you, as opposed to how you get treated when you're feeling down, right? And that's because of the stories that we are telling ourselves at that instant moment. And things start to shift really, really rapidly too when you change the stories like that. So this is how you can change the story. Remember that 3 steps process, right? First of all, ask yourself what you want, then recognize your old limiting stories and change them into positive stories. And now you have this list of affirmations, or this new stories about yourself that you can repeat on your mind as affirmations or as any other techniques that you wish to create for yourself. So guys, if you can do me a favor, write in the comment section down below, what are the stories that are holding you back? What's stopping you from getting what you want? And don't be afraid of writing something negative about a situation, because as I mentioned in one of my previous videos before, awareness alone is curative. Okay, once you are aware of a problem, your subconscious mind then starts looking at it from a more solution-oriented way rather than problem-oriented way, because you're already in this journey, right? And most times when you're aware of your problems while you're manifesting, it's actually a good sign that you know where to go from here, what do you want to clear up so you can get towards your manifestation faster. So with that being said, guys, I want to wish you all the very best. Happy manifesting. Goodbye and namaste.